live, laugh.
All right, how's it going, everybody? We are joined by the Thrillbilly Silas Mason live from the 865. How are you doing tonight?
Woo, Daddy, the Thrillbilly is always doing great. Look, I can barely get the largest arms in Blount County. I can barely get it in the screen, Daddy. Thank God I got a huge phone for these huge arms.
That's
awesome.
Fantastic.
How y'all boys doing?
Doing great, doing great. You said you're Blount County. My family's from Knoxville.
Oh, city slickers, huh?
Oh yeah, my parents right now they live in Maryville, which I hope that you could tell that I'm telling the truth because I didn't say Maryville.
Yeah. Well, you almost kind of went that way. It's Maryville.
Yeah.
From there, it's Maryville.
That's incredible.
But yeah, I was telling my mom we were interviewing tonight, and she knows nothing about wrestling. And I was like, "Yeah, we're doing." She's like, "Oh, that's great. Maybe we'll see him at the grocery store."
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, just tell her not to talk to me. Don't be bothering me. All these mamas and these sisters and these daughters and these girlfriends. Hell, some of the sons too. You just keep walking up to me, always just trying to grab a hold of the biggest man who ever lived. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
So, the goal with this is getting to know like your whole wrestling story, and I'm guessing you weren't born with the biggest guns in the business today. I'm guessing
I was born the biggest man who ever lived. It was bestowed upon me by the good Lord. He just said, he picked one person out of all the millions and millions of people out there, man. He said, one of them gets to be the Thrillbilly. And he said, it's Silas Mason, Daddy.
That's awesome.
And God's Terry Funk, by the way. He's like, oh, listen here, you're going to be the biggest man who ever lived. I'll tell you that right now.
That's canon.
Yeah. That's what I'm going with until the end of time.
I think that's your next t-shirt idea.
Because it's the truth, Daddy. That's the thing. It's so easy to say when it's the truth.
That is awesome.
And Terry Funk's name.
Yeah.
Amen. Very good.
And the Funker's name we pray.
Exactly.
So before we get started, where can people find you on social media? What do you have upcoming? Just let them know your whole.
Oh, baby. Thrillbilly, TCB. The TCB stands for taking care of business, Daddy. Now, that's business. I ain't saying business. I'm saying business, all right? And the business is selling some T-shirts, baby. AngryLemonade.net is where you can get all your Thrillbilly threads. I'm not wearing one right now. Molly Hatchet T-shirt on, though, because I rep, I live this. This ain't no gimmick, pal. It's just me. Yeah. And then upcoming April 7th and 8th, Chicago, Illinois. We got, it's like the Blues Brothers, man. Oh, I know it's nighttime, but I'm still wearing my sunglasses. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be in Chi-Town, the second city, and then March 24th, I'm going to be in Chicago again, Daddy. AAW. The Thrillbilly is going to be whooping on some kind of jabroni Andy Mark, showing them what professional wrestling is all about.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
And I do have a question before we get started. When the Thrillbilly walks into a Crystal Burger, what's that order look like?
Gonna do 2 Crystal Chicks. Gonna do some junkyard fries. Get those jalapenos on there. 2 double Crystal Burgers with cheese and a Coke Zero because I'm watching my figure.
That's awesome. Crystal Burger. That like when my parents come to visit, they come with that huge box and they just like divvy them up between me and my brother.
Oh, dude, one of my favorite stories. It's not a great story. It's a story.
Yeah.
But me and my tag team partner, Dangerous Devin Dixon, we were in Memphis, and it was his cousin and his cousin's fiance, and we just got hammered drunk one night, ate Crystal Burgers, and listened to Creed, and it was one of my favorite nights. We're all fun. I'm like, this is my life, brother. This is awesome.
I love Creed. So that just
yeah.
That sounds like a great night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had these shirts that they didn't sell, but it was funny because it was like on some other website back in the day. It said, I'd rather be listening to fucking Creed right now. And we sold like one of them. But
yeah, if you bring it back, you'll sell 2.
Right, yeah, no, at least sell 2. But it's like had nothing to do with wrestling. I think that's why I didn't sell. Like on it was just all of our stuff, and then this one random Creed shirt.
That is awesome. Fantastic.
Do you have a favorite Creed song?
Weathered's dope. It's gonna be all the hits. I'm one of those guys. I'm like, if I'm listening to Creed, I'm listening to the hits.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's do why is that the one that's like I'm blanking on it now? It's shit. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. Yeah.
Every time someone's like, "What's your favorite song?" and I'm like, "I've never heard their music in my life." All of a sudden.
It's like one of those things that girls get all the time when it's like, "Oh, you like this band? Name 3 songs." I don't think I could name 3 Molly Hatchet songs, but I'll wear the shirt.
Yeah. There you go. So let's dig in a little bit of your story. So you're a kid. What gets you into wrestling? Who's the guy you kind of are drawn to? And just kind of talk us through that.
Man, it was I remember I was a little kid and we had we're in the South, we had WCW, brother. And it was Ultimo Dragon and La Parka had a match on TV. Because to me, it looked like these two like superheroes. But I was one of those kids that played with my action figures and stuff all the time. So it was like these two superheroes come to life on TV, man. And I think right after that was like a Macho Man Slim Jim commercial, like leading out of it. I was just like, oh, this is dope, dude.
Yeah.
That's it right there. That's awesome.
Once you got into wrestling, who are some of the characters that were like you were drawn to that kind of made you latch onto it?
Well, I started really getting into it when I was younger. I'm a little bit of a youngin' for some people. I was like 9 years old, like 2000, right around whenever Rock was doing, like, The Rock was my big guy. We had Mick Foley. He was some of the bigger guys. But once I got in the business, it was more guys like Terry Funk, Dr. D, David Schultz, just guys who could just talk a mad load of crap. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm going to still try and keep from cussing.
So you were attracted to more of like the promo and the larger than life, obviously inspired by your character, which I'm not convinced is a character.
Yeah,
it's not. It's 100% me, man. This is my garage I'm sitting in. This ain't something all this stuff's real, brother. It ain't green screen.
It's not even a green screen. Look at that.
That's awesome. So is there a certain point where you were like, besides being blessed with the biggest arms on earth, you probably feel like you either got to go to the military or you got to be a wrestler?
Hell, I was never considering going to the military, man. I'm too big. They're easy target. They wouldn't even they just spray just generally, and I'd get hit with 3 or 4 of those suckers.
I'm sorry, but he's just too big, guys.
Yeah, I do the no mercy block and just deflect all the bullets.
That's awesome. So is it always wrestling for you?
Oh man, like in general, yeah. Like I always wanted to be, every kid. Like I actually got on the wrestling team because of Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
So, and I read Mick Foley's books. I was a big reader when I was a kid. Still am now, just not as much. Too busy. But I read all Mick Foley's books, and he talked about being on the wrestling team with Kevin James of King of Queens. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Paul Blart Mall Cop. He put that wrestling to use later on. He's taking those guys down.
Like he's got a black belt like twice. Like he's legit.
Yeah.
He's a shooter, pal. Kevin James is a shooter. I've always said it. I've always said Kevin James is a shooter.
I think we got 2 T-shirts for you. You got you want to listen to Creed, and Kevin James is a shooter.
We need him in like he has to be in the old school, like zero facial expression, just slight turn to the camera. Kevin James is a shooter. Photoshop his face on like Lou Thesz's body or something, or like the Strangler.
So much.
Yeah. That made up by tonight.
Hey, these are free ideas, guys. Free ideas. But so I got on the wrestling team and stuff like that. The question was was it always because I was in a band too. So I figured it would be something with performance. Like I did the band thing for a while. We weren't any good, but we were played on the radio. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Better than most.
Hey, I was a bass player and a lead singer, man.
What was your guys' name?
Lead Knuckle and the Jizzy Jazz Junk Band.
That's fantastic.
Did it take you guys a long time to come up with that, or is it like a hat and pulling names out of a hat?
Just kind of stupid kids, maybe smoking a little something we shouldn't have been smoking, and coming up with goofy ass band names. Oh man, I said ass.
It's okay.
Now my cussing streak, it's ruined.
Oh no, it's all over now.
It's all fucks and shits from here on out, boys.
What kind of music did you guys play?
It was like garage rock, like kind of punk, Our two biggest influences are probably the MC5 and Frank Zappa.
Oh,
There you go.
nice.
There you go.
I went and saw Dweezil Zappa play like a couple years back, and if he's anything like Frank's just next level.
Oh, brother, Frank, that's actually pretty cool because everybody that I brought that up to, most of the time I'm expecting people not to really know who Frank was, but everybody loves Zappa, man. Well, not everybody, but the people who know, they know.
Yeah, dude, he's next level, super, like one of those guys that's almost too talented to exist. Like,
Oh yeah, I think he has like 60 something albums of just original music. This isn't like the different live versions. He has like compositions. They have a statue of him in Poland.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
So hopefully I'll have a statue in the Czech Republic or Bulgaria or some shit like that one of these days.
I'll start writing those letters. We'll get that ball rolling.
Oh yeah, what's our sister city? Most places have sister cities and random it's like Flint, Michigan's sister city is Bunghole, Czechoslovakia or something like that.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
So wrestling team in high school because Mick Foley said you should be a wrestler, right?
Hey, I'm always pretty good at paying attention to advice,
Yeah.
State champion, by the way.
Nice. What high school did you go to?
William Blunt, man. One of those. I wasn't fancy enough to go to that Maryville City College.
Did you go straight from the high school to wrestling, or did you? What was your next step there as far as wrestling journey?
After high school, I did about a year of college. That's when I got into doing jiu-jitsu and judo and stuff like that. So I'm a shooter like Kevin James. my hero, Kevin James. But so after that, I did the band thing for a while, and then when I got into it actually kind of late. I was like 22 when I started training with the best jobber the Bullet Club's ever had, Chase Owens.
Nice.
He'll like that I said that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He carried Kenny Olivier's broom, man.
That's the crown jewel right there, man.
Sweeping, daddy.
Is he a North Carolina guy or?
No, he's actually from Bristol.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he worked the North Carolina territory quite a bit, and then he was in Japan. He's killing it. He's killing it.
Still there, dude. He just bought a house in San Antonio, Texas, with his New Japan money. So
that's incredible.
That's the goal, ain't it?
I was floored by because like when Hot Topic and Bullet Club was doing all their stuff, that eventually that Crown Jewel shirt dropped. And I was like, Jason, okay, I'll get this shirt.
Dude, he made some money off that T-shirt. Also, he was trained by Ricky Morton, which this is a funny story. It's don't ever sell merch near or around. If Ricky Morton's in the same building, distract him. Find someone to distract Ricky Morton, because we're in Tampa. It was me, Cardona, and the Russian gal that works for NWO. I'm blanking on her name right now. Natasha something. But so all of us were like standing here, and Ricky Morton's just down there at the end. Man, I said, I ain't sold a single thing here. And Cardona's like, I ain't done too well either. I'm like, okay, sure. He's like, I've sold 2 pins. He's like, they're all going to Ricky. And I just look, and it's just the entire line of people. It's just at Ricky Morton's table. I'm like, hey, dude, sometimes you just got to give it up to him.
Yeah, we went to WrestleMania a few years back. He was selling Rock and Roll Express water bottles.
It was had to be durable water bottles.
Like disposable water bottles. Label on them.
He prints out the little sticky label.
Yeah.
Wraps it on the thing himself, more than likely. Like Ricky's one of those guys, and Chase is one of those guys too. It's like they're the old school hustlers, man. Like Ricky and Robert would tell stories about how they'd sell their merch out of the trunk of their car when they had to. They're like, hey, Bubba, you always got to make a little bit extra money on the road. You know what I'm saying?
And longevity wise, it's amazing that what he's doing at such a high level still, and he still sells so much merch. Like, I think if it's up to him, he will never stop.
Yeah. Oh no, he'll be buried in that ring, man. And he'll still have to put him over.
Absolutely. So when you go to get trained, like what's the moment of I'm no longer a fan, I am doing this, and what did that, whether it was a tryout or just getting right into training, what did that look like?
So whenever I found it on a Facebook ad of all things. So like I said, I was in college for a little bit. I didn't have the internet in my house, and I actually had the internet in college. My forearm and my hand got real tired though. But so, you know what I'm saying, brother. But so I was on Facebook, and I just saw some ad. Went up to Kingsport, and there was probably about 50 something people there. And out of those 50 people, Chase picked three of us. And out of those three people, I was the only one dumb enough to show up for training the next day. So it was just one of those things where like you realize early on, like I love hitting the rope. Like anytime someone has anything to say about the legitimacy of this sport, I tell them to run, I don't even say take a bump, just run the ropes. We'll see how tough you are.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things because you get those zebra stripes up and down your back, the bumps, the falls, and it was just one of those realizations. I was like, I think I'm tougher than anyone else to be able to do this.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things, you know, where it wasn't till probably I was about 5 years in where I was really like, because you know there's some people who are markish and they get their kick pads and they get their little wrestling shoes on and they do their V triggers and they do all this other crap. They think they're wrestlers, but like really like when I was about 5 years in was really when I was like, nah, man, this is the thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Were you starting out as the Thrillbilly, or what was your original kind of character?
The original, yeah, the Thrillbilly has always been my moniker. Now, Silas Mason wasn't always my name. I went by a different name previously, but other people told me to. Why aren't you using your real name? Because Silas Mason is my. It's one of those things like people think I made it up. I'm not that creative, man. My mama made it up whenever I was born. You know what I'm saying? So everyone's like they think Silas Mason's. I literally had to pull out my driver's license and show people, like, no, dude, this is my real name because they think I made it up.
Oh, it's a perfect name.
Well, I'm always amazed by the guys who can start in wrestling, use their real name, and be like, "That's a good wrestling name," because not everyone's name, like Michael Higginbottom, isn't necessarily that. You don't put that on a t-shirt.
Right. He's about to hit the Hickenbottom star. Like, you know, it doesn't have that same kind of, or Dwayne. Oh, I'm Dwayne Johnson. Like,
yeah. He's turned it into like a badass name, but like if you just like break it down, it's not cool at all.
No. Then like, Cena, John Cena's his actual name. Terry Funk, Gordy, all those guys. But yeah, it's a rare thing. And I just never, when you're going around with it your whole life, you never really think of it as a cool name. But now I realize it is a cool name.
Yeah, for sure.
There you go.
When you're starting out, what kind of thought goes into like your move set? And I'm interested to know, like, finisher wise, like how does that go to pick something like that?
You got me on the whole moveset thing. I've never been a moves guy. Like there's all these dudes who are like, oh, here's my, here's like, this is the kind of move I did. Like I got basic, like a body slam. I'm hit someone with a damn club or a clothesline or something like that. But I've never really been a guy that put too much thought into the moves. And that's something that's you got to change that a little bit for TV and stuff. You got the people got to see what you do. Austin's got to hit the Thez press. But other than the Thez press, what did he do? He stomped a dude in the corner, threw some punches. Drinking beer counts as a move. Yeah, he had to do the double birds.
That's a really good point.
Right, like that's the thing is you always like big boot leg drop pose. Like that's Hogan's move. Like no one's aching to see the back rake. Oh, I mean I am. Don't get me wrong. I gotta see that. That back rake he did. But Dr. Tom always says no one remembers John Cena, how good of a hammerlock John Cena did.
Yeah,
that's a really good point.
So I never really put too much into the moves. And actually, here recently, the thrill ride that I do on NWA, I have to thank Dr. Tom for that because he saw me do the move and he said, that should be your finish. I said, Doc, do you know how exhausting it is to pick up these 300-pound guys and spin them around? And then this last set of tapings, I hit it like 5 times in a row on some people, and I was gassed at the end of it. And I'm sitting here, and I got a pretty good gas tank for a guy my size. And I come to the back, and I just get on my knees, and I'm breathing all heavy. I said, thanks, Doc. I really appreciate that.
rad as hell, though, dude. Like,
if it was my choice, I'd just powerbomb a motherfucker. Powerbomb him, fucking stack pin him. Like, I dare you to kick out, dude. I'm gonna stack your ass. I didn't win state for no reason. I can pin a $some if I want to.
Awesome. So when you're training, are you training? You mentioned Dr. Tom. I know he's local to the area. Is he jump into that equation in your process as far as training goes, or is that later on?
How do you mean?
Was he there like kind of early on? Did you train with him, or was it more of like?
well,
later?
because he's NWA agent now, right? Is that your introduction to him?
No, actually. So about let's see. It's been about 4 years now. So I'm almost 10. This June will be 10 years that I've been wrestling, and met Doc when I was about 6 years in. So I'd originally trained with Chase Owens, and then I'd moved out to Oregon, and I trained with the grappler Lynn Denton up there for DOA Pro Wrestling, and then I moved I moved a lot in my early life, early 20s, and I trained with a cutthroat Cody Croft out in Las Vegas for Future Stars of Wrestling. And then I moved back home when I found out that Dr. Tom was opening up a school, like I was a chef before. And so I'd worked in Alaska, saved up some money, came back home and paid the fine and met Dr. Tom. I think it's been gangbusters ever since. My career has only gone one direction since I met Doc.
Yeah. It's got to be cool too. You mentioned like being a fan of Kurt Angle, and he's instrumental in making Kurt Angle who he was. And now you're sitting there and you're being trained by him.
Just think, man, of all the great people he's trained, like hell, every single person that went through FCW, like Chris Adonis, you got Aaron Stevens, all these guys, Tyrus, who went through there. He trained them. He trained Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and most importantly of all, he trained the Thrillbilly Silas Mason, the greatest man of all time.
That is.
You're gonna tell me he's not the best trainer who ever lived? Yeah. I dare you.
I mean, that's great company for them to be with, right?
That's what they must be honored.
Yeah. I mean, how honored?
Dwayne should send me a thank you card with a substantial sum of money in it.
Yeah, I think Tyrus owes you a title shot just for elevating his.
That rinky dink show he does on what's that channel? Fox News.
Fox News. Yeah, Fox News.
Fox News. It ain't the news. It's like some kind of popularity contest or whatever they're doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. What because you mentioned that because being on TV, you had to kind of change in ring style a little bit to do your stuff on TV. How much of a transition is that from you're working your indie dates to a TV product? There's a hard cam. There's times need to be met. Like how much on from your standpoint, how much did that change for you?
It's just a little, like for me personally, because I was never, like I said, I'm not a moves guy, and I've worked these super indie places, and like I said, working out in Vegas, especially like the Southern California style, everyone's wanting to go a mile a minute, get a million things in, and I was always, what the best match is on a card is subjective. It ain't about the move. What my goal is just to be memorable. I want you to remember the Thrillbilly, and you're going to. Because, I mean, look at me. Could you forget me? People stopped me in the store before I was this jacked, saying, I know you do something important. I know you do something special. And so I just want to stick out and be memorable. And the real difference, I would say, is as opposed to, you got to think, all the people who are there to watch, and they're there to be entertained as well. But in that screen, there's a million people watching. So you got to it's just really focusing in on that. Focus it, the camera guys, the guys holding taking the pictures, all that stuff. Those guys are your best friends. You want to send them a Christmas card. You want to call them, ask them how their mama's doing. You want to say, how did you walk the dog? You gotta make sure that they're your focus and they're your attention. So that's really all it is in terms of the main difference. Like, other than wrestling's just wrestling, man. You can go out and wrestle. It's just positioning yourself right and keeping that in the forefront of your mind.
That is very cool. And being a WCW fan growing up, and how important like Crockett and NWA, like that story goes without saying. But like, is that, it might be a very basic question, but how cool is that from a kid to grown perspective of like, you're you're part of what was great about your childhood. Now you're part of that lineage. Like,
Yep. Legacy and tradition, bro. And that's the thing too, man. Just a real quick thing on TV, because AEW does that the kind of roaming corner cam and hard cam thing like WCW did. Those guys can't work that camera at all, man. You watch Bobby Eaton and Arn Anderson back when they were tagging. I was just watching some random WCW Saturday night. Bobby Eaton getting his finger and digging it in this dude's eye, like right there in front of the camera, and like they were able just to work that camera and like really draw you in as a viewer. But no, dude, it's awesome, man. And like a lot of that, like I said, I was born in '91, so a lot of the older like NWA stuff, like I saw a little bit of WCW transition more to like NWO era, Stone Cold, like that was kind of more what I grew up with. So I didn't really start studying that stuff and really start growing an appreciation for it until like I said, I didn't have the internet in my house, man. Like I used to get those magazines and just read through it and be like, oh, I guess that was a cool match in Japan, Dave. I don't like, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't really have a chance to watch it until then. And so once I started getting into the business and once I started really like studying that is when I grew an appreciation for it, and being able to be in the NWA and be part of that and soon be an NWA national and then world's champion. That's going to be pretty cool too. Imagine how honored Ric Flair is going to be knowing that he previously held a belt that I'm currently holding.
Yeah, he might have to get back in the ring just to.
He might just keep him off the airplanes whenever he's getting to whatever arena we're going to. You know.
Yeah.
Don't let none of those flight attendants near him.
So with NWA, how did that start for you? If you don't mind telling the story of getting in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. So they're in my neck of the woods in that big old city of Knoxville that they got. And I literally I walked up to Doc and said, hey, introduce me to Mr. Corgan. He walked up there and you could see Billy's eyes light up. He's like, oh man, look at it. Look at this guy. Yeah. He's just he's a big son of a bitch. That's what he is. But no, so he introduced me to Mr. Corgan, and I had a match with Lou Cox, and we beat the hell out of each other. Do what?
He's great. I'm from New Orleans, so like.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah.
No, but he I think Wildcat is entertainment is him in Louisiana, and he's a good man.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, we worked for him with Wildcat too. Dude, those people get wild, man.
Yeah.
Like Wildcat is an accurate name for that promotion. But no, so I wrestled Luke, and then Corgan comes up to me afterwards and he says, man, how would you like to work for the NWA? How would you like to come to TV? And I said, sir, it would be an honor for you to have me in NWA. And he agreed.
That's awesome.
Was it cool? Like, I imagine, judging by like kind of what you said about your musical taste, you probably have a little bit of overlap with the Smashing Pumpkins. Is that a moment where you're like, holy shit, that's Billy Corgan?
I don't really get that anymore, man. Like I never really got. I'm one of those, like I see dude, like it's cool. Don't get me wrong. Like it was one of those things. Like I love just listening to him because he's one of the guys too. He's a really approachable dude. He's really easy to talk to, and like I just like hearing his stories, his perspectives about like, because people don't really realize this, but like especially in the mid '90s, man, when like Siamese Dreams and Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness came out, like dude, those albums were like on the top of the charts for long stretches of time. I think Melancholy was for like a year or so. Yeah. And so like, that he was a mega star, you know what I'm saying? And so listening to his perspective and his like road stories and just like how, and the reason why he got there, he said, I think he's like, I just realized sorrow was the family business. So I leaned into it. And I was like, that's all sometimes is just lean into it. But no, the last person actually that I felt like, about like, I can talk about it now. I'm in a movie with Zac Efron, the Iron Claw.
Yeah.
Zac Efron's favorite wrestler. But like even meeting them, like, these big, I'm just like, just talk to him like he's a regular dude, and he was a cool guy too. But the last guy was really like, oh, sir, was Chavo was there. And I was like, Mr. Guerrero, sir, it's a pleasure to meet you, man. Because like that's the people I get, like Terry Funk. I met him when I was in Las Vegas. And I was hammered outside of a TGI Fridays, but but I was like, and the buddies I was with was like, don't rush up to him. And I immediately rushed up to him. I was like, sir, it's a goddamn pleasure to meet you. He's like, oh, how you boys doing? Oh, you know, and he's just being I was tickled pink, man.
That's awesome. It's also cool to know that Terry Funk enjoys the occasional TGI Fridays.
Oh, dude, it's a thing, man. It is a thing. I'm not sure why it's a thing, but it's a thing that at the Gold Coast Casino, if you're going there for Cauliflower Alley Club, every single wrestler or wrestling related person will be. Mean Gene Okerlund there, JR, JBL, like Gerald Briscoe. All those guys are just hanging out at the TGI Fridays. I'm like, y'all know there's better restaurants around here, right? I guess it was close and the drinks are cheap.
You ever seen those like the paintings people do? It's just like it's got Elvis shooting pool and Frank Sinatra's over here, and it's kind of like, oh, this stories. I want to get one of those where it's just like JR like eating a mozzarella stick and like
old school Norman Rockwell paintings, you know?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All wrestling legends in a TGI Fridays.
It's because they ain't got Waffle House out there. That's the other. Because man, I'd kill me some Waffle House right now.
You guys have Huddle House too. How does that stack up? Waffle
House is better. One, they got more locations.
Yeah.
Two, the meth heads that work at the Waffle House ain't gonna rob you. They're there to work. It's like, listen, man, I got my fucking PO. He's on me, you know, all the time. Like I can't, you know. Fortunately, they probably don't get piss tested as much, which is good. Good for them. They should be allowed to do a doobie joint every once in a while.
If you're working those shifts and dealing with all the drunk people, you should be allowed to like smoke on the shift.
Well, and around here they're playing Rocky Top all the time, which I love.
Oh, absolutely.
Go Balls, baby.
Oh yeah.
If I pull into a Waffle House and someone isn't smoking outside, I turn right back around. It's not a good one.
Yeah. Exactly. Unless you're the one who pulls up to smoke, then does it even out, or how does that rule work?
I think it does. I'd like to think it does.
Okay. As long as somebody has been smoking within the last 5 minutes out there.
Yeah. You mentioned Rocky Top. What's your go-to version of Rocky Top?
Go-to version? How many versions are there? Oh man, I heard a polka version of it one time in Oregon. That was the weirdest. I was like at some random like German festival, and it was like a polka version of Rocky Top, and I was like, why? But it was weird. I don't know. I guess it's the regular version. I ain't sure how many different versions there are. I just hear the one that's on the radio all the time. I'm like, this is dope.
My dad is like born and raised in Knoxville. Like we have to leave him alone during Tennessee football games because if they're not doing good, it's not a good time for everybody. But like I was raised singing Rocky Top. Anytime we like cross the city limits of Tennessee, the whole car goes go Vols. So definitely right there with you on that.
I guess didn't Dolly do a version? I'll say Dolly.
Yeah, Dolly definitely.
Yeah, Dolly, the last living saint.
Yeah.
To Dolly and Terry, man.
Awesome.
So, given the NWA, what's your 2-year goal? Who are guys you want to work, or does that even matter? Like, are you just doing your thing?
It matters. It matters 100%. My goal would be World's Heavyweight Championship, number one. That is the number one goal. If you're not in this business to be the World's Heavyweight Champion, you should probably get out of this business. Yeah. And after I earn that World's Heavyweight Champion, the World's Heavyweight title, I want to earn a lot more of Billy Corgan's money.
Yeah.
Because I know he's making a ton of money right now with the Smash Pumpkins doing the world tour. Give the Thrillbilly a bigger cut of it and pay off my mama's house within 2 years.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's great.
And then in terms of who I'd like to wrestle, Tom Latimer, EC3. I'd actually like to have a one-on-one match with Chris Adonis.
Yeah.
We had a match before. Well, I think me and Trevor Murdoch, if you gave us about 20, 30 minutes and just let us just beat the shit out of each other. That's what I like. I like violence.
Yeah. If you and Trevor Murdoch, who's going to fill up a water bottle first with dip spit?
Oh, me. He's got like his wife and kids and stuff like that. His wife's probably like, "Oh, but don't be doing that there, Trevor. Oh, you got to." I can just put a whole half a can in my damn mouth.
Awesome. As far as wrestling goes, I've got all my questions, but I'd love to talk about. Have you already filmed the Von Erich movie?
We have. I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about it, but in terms of the press release, they did say I was in it, so now I can tell everyone.
Yeah. What was it
This
like?
is the first podcast that I'm
Yeah.
allowed to explicitly say it.
News.
What was
Iron Claw.
it like to play Terry Gordy? Just like knowing like how like great of a wrestler he was, and I'm sure you have some sort of affection for him.
Man, the funniest thing was whenever they have me send in my picture and everything. I went clean shaven after it, and then I realized how good I look, so I just kept the clean shaved look.
Yeah.
But so they send in the pictures, and they're like, "Yeah, he looks a lot like him." And then the head of casting, he's like, "So do you know anything about Terry Gordy?" And to me, this question is hilarious because Terry Gordy is literally my favorite wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like in ring and everything. Don't get me wrong, Terry Funk's the perfect wrestler to me, but I'm Terry Gordy's size. We kind of look the same. We move around the same. Like, so Gordy was always him and like Barry Windham and like a lot of those like bigger, kind of more agile Southern guys is who I was going for. And so, dude, like I was like, do I know Terry Gordy? Okay, let me show you, boys. And fortunately, we had James Beard there, who was a referee. He was actually referee for World Class, and he worked a lot with Bam Bam back in the day. And he would give me like little pointers. He's like, man, I think he's like Terry would have really done this here, like kind of come at the ring, like doing the eyes and like just. So I mean, in terms of like the moves, and I've been ripping his shit off for years, dude. So that was easy. It's just like little smaller, detailed kind of stuff, like how he says cheer. He doesn't say chair. He says cheer. I'm gonna hit him with a cheer. I just don't care. Like he just like throw a little shit. I didn't get any speaking lines, but I still talk shit even when I wrestle. So throwing it in there.
That's awesome. Well, I think I want to make sure we're cognizant of your time. I don't have any other questions. Do you have any questions for us? This is the first time we've ever done this.
Questions for you guys. How do you think the Vols are going to do this year?
Yeah.
Coming up. How do you think Nico's going to start? Or do you think it's going to be Joe Milton?
With the Tennessee?
Oh, yeah. You got your Vols shirt and your T-shirt on, don't you?
Yeah, I wore it. If I'm being honest, I wore it because I knew we were interviewing you.
Oh, he's a poser, man. He's a poser.
I'm a little bit of a poser. They had
ain't nothing wrong with that.
They had a hooker last year. I'm not sure who they got going up, but I'm hoping
it's hard to beat a good hooker.
Yeah.
So
that's a multi-lever joke.
I have a wrestling question, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Wrestling? I thought this was a football podcast. What the hell are we? Rogers to the Jets? What?
Which, by the way, is going to be incredible. I'm really excited to see.
Still ain't going to win a Super Bowl, though. And here's the reason. Just real quick tangent. Tom Brady. Do you know why he's won so many Super Bowls? He didn't take
his contract every year.
The contract. Like Patrick Mahomes, he signed a contract for like $500 million, but it's spread out over 10 years and it's real team friendly. That's why they're going to be able to get DeAndre Hopkins. That's why they're going to be able to get all these pieces around. Guys like Rodgers and guys who just sit there and take and take and take. It's like, I get it. Make all the money in the world you can. But, Patrick Mahomes makes a lot of endorsements because he wins all the damn time.
Yeah.
Tom Brady made a lot of money because he won all the damn time. What's your wrestling question?
Who are some guys working the indies or maybe NWA, but just some guys who you think maybe don't get the big enough platform that people should know about that we can definitely have a little spotlight segment on real quick.
Spotlight segment. Okay, so I'm gonna do it a twofer. Can I do a twofer?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do guys on the indies that I really want to work, like we did in the NWA, and then guys who I'm gonna shout out, and then who I think should get a bigger spotlight. Guys on the indies I want to work: Derek Neal, Steve Manders, Big Beef Gnarls Garvin, and Shaft, and Hammerstone. Those 5 guys, big old boys. Let's see if y'all can measure up to the biggest man who ever lived. And then in terms of, there's this guy out of North Carolina right now, Josh Williams. Working class Josh Williams, man. That kid is money, dude. Like, he was in this big scramble up in we did a show where we came out with Dennis Condrey, and they did a scramble, And the one thing again, moves. Who cares? Who needs them? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I'll pick on Kenny Omega too much, but I was going to do another Kenny Omega joke. But Sammy Guevara, get another one of these spot guys. Like, oh wow, I remember all those moves. I don't remember all those moves. I remember the moments. And this kid, he gets up there to do his pose, and the referee standing near him. He just shoos the referee off real quick. He's like, get out of the way. And then he gets his pose in. I'm like, hell yeah, kid. And he was just get guys in a chin lock, talking shit to the crowd the whole time. Josh Williams is money, man.
Awesome.
My tag team partner, Dangerous Devin Dixon, awesome guy. He got shoulder surgery. That's why he ain't been wrestling or doing anything with the NWA. Y'all need to check him out. Just old school Southern, and he's a Native American. So just remember when November rolls around, that's Native American Heritage Month. Let's think of another guy, Brian Brock out of Florida, out of the Tampa area. Brian Brock, he was one half of the Dirty Blondes tag team. Now he's doing singles stuff, so he's really good. And he's a guy that, if you like the Thrillbilly, if you like the throwback,
yeah, check
him out.
Awesome. And I remember a question I had. How did you come to start working with Polo de Mar, and how's it? If you want to talk about that, it seems like a really cool kind of relationship you guys have.
Oh, dude, Pollo is awesome, man. Pollo has been instrumental in my success. Pollo has been one of those people that have, and whenever you started out, I'm pretty sure people had it as a joke in their minds.
Yeah.
Oh, this, you get this girl all dolled up and we'll put her with a redneck or whatever like that. Well, man, the thing about me and Pollo Del Mar is we will do anything, and I mean anything, to get over and to be noticed. We're two people who we want to be the center of attention. And Pollo told me, she's like, I've never had to ever try to work hard to like shine on camera, but you're such a big personality that I have to put in extra work to be the one who's being seen. You know what I'm saying? And then Pollo ups my game, I up Pollo's game, and they've really helped me with like all this social media stuff. I got this dope new resume because Pollo at 16 was a professional journalist. Mm-hmm. Went to college for graphic design. Like, she knows her shit, man. She does. And it's one of those things, like, helping me with getting over on Twitter and stuff like that, and figuring out. I never realized. I thought a wrestler just wrestled.
Yeah.
Little did I know, wrestling is about this much of wrestling.
Yeah.
So Pollo's dope, man.
You're one of my favorite follows on social media, because you never really know what's gonna.
He was showing me yesterday some of your posts. I was like, "Is this my new favorite wrestler?"
Dude, it was like one of the tapings. Billy there's like 4 Billies in the back who work in production. It doesn't get confusing at all. But one of the heads of production, as I'm coming out, they're telling me over the they told somebody over the headpiece, and it was told me later. He's like, and here comes the man with the best Instagram in the entire wrestling business.
Yeah.
So for the viewers at home, follow me on Instagram. I don't do Twitter as much, but my Instagram is pretty entertaining.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, we appreciate your time. We'd love to have you back on.
Absolutely, man. Because I love living.
Yeah.
And I love laughing.
Yeah.
I really love giving people the Lariat with the largest arm in the world.
Awesome. We're going to clip that and use it.
Yeah,
go for it. That's your third t-shirt idea of the day.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we hope you have a great night, and hopefully the next time you come on, we'll have some gold around your waist.
Oh man, I don't even know. I'm gonna have to get the camera like zoomed out so you can see all the gold.
You got to get a belt extender.
There you go, man.
Awesome, man.
Hey boys, y'all take it easy, all right?
Right. You have a great one.